Well, it's that time of year again, folks. Yes, it's the Skulls event from Games Workshop and Warhammer. Unfortunately, this year I actually completely missed the email to snag up my goodie box, courtesy of Games Workshop, and so I don't think I'll be getting one. Don't have any game codes or anything to give away like I did last year, which is a little bit sad, but nonetheless, it's going to be releasing before Creative Assembly has a chance to really do anything, because I'm putting it up sort of the night before this official Skulls event, so we'll have to wait and see what Creative Assembly has in store for us. No doubt those of you watching after the fact or commenting if they have done anything, we'll see. Historically, we've gotten some content occasionally on Skulls, but given the state of things right now, my guess is we'll probably just get some news, if anything, like on the upcoming Slanesh and whatever DLC. And anyway, yeah, this replay here, we've got Mr. McNugget on Discord, which is just an S-tier name, by the way, charging in the Beastmen against Nurgle, led by Skull Enjoyer himself, Turox the Brass Bull. We've also got another Skull Enjoyer here, the Blood Brew Behemoth. Gorgon in the back. Looks like some dual hand weapon Minotaurs charging in. It's breaking this initial line of Nurglings. Then Bray Shaman Lore of Shadows. Got some Goreherd shields here as well. Double big bruiser from Nurgle with Kugath and a Great Unclean One, plus a bunch of Exalted Plague Bearers. We've got some Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Some of you recently asked me why I'm not that big of a fan of them. That's probably a topic worthy of a dedicated video. But it basically just comes down to them not being particularly cost-effective. As those Tzeentch Centaurs and other Centaurs charge in, Barons of the Bog are not actually going to trade all that well in that individual engagement. Beastmen already out the gates, utilizing mobility to pretty good effect to try and get some good engagements. But one benefit of the Chaos Warriors is they can follow up in an engagement, our unit, and at least push these Centaurs away, try and preserve the Barons of the Bog, maybe get some healing and come back quite effectively. Nurglings being sacrificed pretty early on is resulting in some damage to these other Beastmen units, as the Plague Bearers are able to come forward, throw some Death's Heads, wreck those Gore Herds. Little Pit of Shades there. Not such a common spell in land battles as it is in Domination, and even then not that common in Domination these days. It's going to do some damage, although the Exalted Plague Bearers certainly have enough HP to just resist a lot of that through sheer force of will. But let's see. Kugath continuing to throw downtown and getting some good contact here. So far, Barons, yeah, no healing yet on them, but they are definitely debuffing a huge blob of stuff. Do they actually have the perfect vigor? I forget. Yeah, so it'd be good to get them also saturated in with these Exalted Plague Bearers here. But yeah, the Minotaurs, just getting that butter bread here. Bread buttered, whatever, however the phrase goes. Yes, the Great Unclean One standing and grinding, and this is really where Nurgle will definitely come into their own. But Beastmen still having some nice positioning here. Good rear charge and the supporting Chaos Warriors there, trying to equalize things. I mean, certainly Blood Brew Behemoth can grind fairly well with that passive self-healing. Great stats, anti-large. We'll see how it trades against the heft of the Great Unclean One there. Great Unclean One's not a super common pick. Overall, just a relatively uncommon build on both sides. But that's why I like to showcase battles like this. It's not always ultra meta by hard all the time. And certainly these players are giving it their best. Beastmen giving it their best, but slowly kind of getting ground down here in a way. Yeah, Nurgle doing just fine on the balance of power. That Pit of Shades does hit multiple units, but I'm going to leave the health bars up just so you can see how the Plague Bearers are able to just eat the damage from that. But 2v1 engagement on the Great Unclean One here is a pretty good get for the Beastmen. Potentially, I mean, yeah, the Great Unclean One just so hefty, and you definitely got to respect a Nurgle build that's just going to come in so much girth and HP basically on so many units that they're going to be extremely hard to grind through. Beastmen historically are not a great grinding faction, and even still to this day, I would argue, if you can manage to outgrind them, it's certainly easier said than done, but can be done by certain factions. We'll see, though. Now we got a proper 2v2 going. Kugath comes in to get involved in melee. Support-wise, Nurgle's definitely got the advantage here, as a lot of the Beastmen support units are just kind of running out of steam, to be honest. But let's see, Bloodbrute Behemoth and Turox going to continue fighting. Turox himself is a pretty formidable combatant, and a key component is he also has fire damage, of course, right? Which is going to have the amount of healing received if either of these units do receive a fleshy abundance. But let's see here. Yeah, thankfully for the Beastmen, Barons of the Bog are long gone, but this is definitely a situation where the Chaos Warriors, just the fact that they are a lot more sturdy of a presence than Marauders in and of itself is a benefit. That extra tankiness and HP and leadership and everything, but let's see. Yeah, Turox and the Gorgon here. Of course, Gorgon's passive healing is quite impressive. Running a little bit low on Vigor and also getting debuffed by Nurgle at the same time. Stats are somewhat down just across the board there, but let's see. Nurgle trying to, or Beastmen rather, trying to rally some units together. We see this Exalted Plague Bear is actually heal capped, so it does mean a lot of the resources have been spent healing the Plague Bears. There might not be as much resources available to heal Kugath and or the other Great Unclean One here, but let's see as things play out. The summoned infested Nurglings there definitely taking a nasty charge, but helping to prevent that charge from landing on, say, the Exalted Plague Bears. But this little group of Beastmen getting together a push, taking out this Plague Bear over here that they caught out in the open. Trying to use that mobility to good effect. Bloodbrute slowly grinding, still both it and Turox about half HP. Not necessarily doing great, but the Grey Shaman actually comes in here as well to make it technically a 3v2 single entity fight. They'll do a little bit of damage and get bullied quite a bit as well, but there you go. Such is a hard knock life being an infantry character in such a fight. But yeah, the Bloodbrute's getting a little bit low. The healing cap is only up to about 3/4 of its HP anyway, so definitely taking some significant damage. But Kugath kind of gets pushed away here from the other Great Unclean One by a beautiful rolling animation from Turox. Able to just muscle him through, which, if you actually think about it, is some insane strength. But Brass Bull definitely cleaving through right now. Trading very well considering the disparity in HP. You do have to consider that Kugath has, like, what, double the base HP Turox, which in and of itself is quite a bit. So, yeah, impressive stuff. Nurgle units slowly disappearing as the Beastmen sort of use their mobility, work together. Goat together strong. I think I heard that somewhere once. Maybe it was something different. Who knows? But Frolickers bubonic. The Regiment of Renown Nurglings also here. Yeah. Still continuing to fight. They're, of course, damage reflection and passive self-healing means they will stand in this fight for quite some time. But Bloodbrute getting dangerously low, as is Turox. Ooh, yeah, Bloodbrute might actually straight up go down here, which would definitely be a disaster, but Kugath is also getting exceedingly low at this point. The Frolickers move in, maybe try and get that last bit of damage reflection. Oof, big hit in the back from that Great Unclean One. Yeah, I do think the Bloodbrute Behemoth should just turn around and fight the Great Unclean One at this point. Probably not present his back to it, because right now it might even potentially be getting the benefit of another rear charge attack. Ooh, he does manage to move out of the AoE sort of hitbox in time. And maybe the Great Unclean One gets distracted by the Bray Shaman while Kugath gets finished off here. Just the relentlessness of Turox continuing to pressure him. And the Tzeentch Centaurs also with their magic damage, able to chip in a little bit there. And with the loss of Kugath, that is going to be a significant blow. And this is one of the main downsides here. Very clear demonstration of Chaos Warriors, at the end of the day, they're kind of just heavy infantry. Which means they're slow, they tire easily, and yeah, I mean, they can be outmaneuvered and by a lot of things, and also killed by a lot of things, right? AoE magic damage, monster charge damage, all sorts of different armor-piercing ranged units, from artillery to small arms fire. Everything kind of kills infantry in this game in a way, right? And it's certainly a problem with elite infantry, but even a lot of mid-tier infantry just struggle to be cost-effective, given that sort of constraint on them. They really need to be good either line defenders or good at support or just overall good cost-effective units. Trading with other units, certainly easier said than done, but right now I do feel that a lot of the time Chaos Warriors fall a little bit too far away from being cost-effective. But let's see this damage reflection charge here. If the Centaurs end up just dying horribly. No, they managed to get in and get out pretty quickly. But, yeah, Beastmen trying to group up the last of their units together. Ultimately, though, it's just going to be a matter of if Turox and the Gorgon grind through whatever's left. He did just get a brutal sort of AoE cleave through those Chaos Warriors, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? Despite their sort of mid-tier, somewhat elite nature. Somewhat elite. They're definitely mid-tier. But still, that collision damage from Turox, just a massive charge, able to do so much AoE damage to them that they end up mostly combat ineffective. I mean, we'll see, but certainly within the range now to be terror routed. A little bit of Pit of Shades helping to try and get those Plague Bearers off the field. Pretty much breaks their leadership as the Brave Shaman just stands in his own pit. Probably having a great time, honestly. But, yeah, now Turox and the Blood Brute. Whoop. Turox just gets thrown out of the way by the angry Blood Brute, which, you know, honestly understandable. But, yeah, they're going to 2v1, no problem, take out this Great Unclean One. So ultimately ends up being very, very close. That Blood Brute Behemoth has, like, yeah, like, tiny bit of HP. Not even quite technically heal capped, but maybe like 300 total with its heal cap and everything. Yeah, almost nothing at the end of the day. But a quick terror route takes hold. And at this point, Turox himself can basically just grind through everything that's left with his big heavy armor and terror and everything. I guess Turox technically himself doesn't cause terror innately, but doesn't he have ability to? Anyway, maybe that's the other guy. Maybe that's Gorbel. Regardless, very fun one for sure. Turox and the Blood Brute Behemoth, both over 3,000 damage value. To be expected, 25,000 damage dealt there, 23,000 damage dealt there. Getting through those huge Chungus monsters just takes a bit. Definitely it takes some effort. Even they pay for themselves on the Nurgle's side. So, yeah. Also, the Centaurs of Tzeentch trade very well here. Their magic damage coming in very clutch against a lot of the demons, mostly demons, on this build. The Minotaurs also pay for themselves, which is nice to see. Yeah, Kugath, great. The Chaos Warriors weapons do pay for themselves at the end of the day, so I don't know. Maybe they're reasonably cost-effective in this specific grind instance. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not the terrible units. It's not like you should never take them. I just find them generally to not be great. One benefit of the Nurgle ones is that they do have, what, increased melee defense, and, yeah, do they have, like, a little bit of extra HP as well? I forget all the exact Nurgle traits they get. Poison damage is also another nice one. It kind of offsets having lower melee defense of a great weapon. But, yeah, these are probably one of the better variants overall of Chaos Warriors. And even then, yeah, these still somewhat niche, I would say. Yeah, the Exalted Plague Bearers also do a reasonably decent job. And then, yeah, the Great Unclean One, actually, one of the better performances I've seen from this guy, does probably warrant another look in some matchups. Just so vulnerable to missiles at the end of the day. Hard to make work in a lot of matchups consistently. But I'd be curious to see. Maybe someone will put together some wild, like, double Great Unclean One with tons of mobility builds. I'd be curious to see. Maybe I have seen something like that before. I've just forgotten. You know, you watch so many battles, sometimes things blend together a little bit. But thanks for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.